Hey, what's up everybody? It's Brenton Brown from Forza Tuning and Performance. And obviously behind me is the 2020 Dream Giveaway Widebody Charger Hellcat that we're doing the 1,000 horsepower Stage 4R package on for some lucky winner. So we get a lot of questions as far as like, how do we win the car? Where do we enter at? So real easy. All you do is go to dreamgiveaway.com. As soon as you get on there, you're gonna see the car and you can enter to win very, very easily. So if you want to win more chances for free, all you got to do is use our promo code. It's on the screen or in the description below. Use that. Hopefully that helps you give you a better chance to win this awesome car, and good luck. So now, without any further ado, let's get on to the video. The very first thing that we did was we took zip ties and we zip tied these up very tightly when it was still bolted to the radiator up against that support up there. And those plastic brackets were setting the height of the radiator. The main reason we did that is, number one, this stuff is being perfectly supported by those zip ties and it's in the exact height location that it needs to be. So when we go to put this stuff back together, we're not fighting, trying to get all three different things lined up and possibly damaging the fins on anything. This bolt, the top one will come out real easy, okay? So I'm going to screw that back into our assembly over there just so I don't lose track of it. This one is really, I would have to lift this up. It's supporting the weight and it's kind of aligning it. So I'm just gonna leave it in there. So now these are suspended and the weight's being totally supported. They're in perfect alignment of where they need to be when we go back together. If you don't do it this way, you're gonna have each one of these things in different areas. And I just feel like the likelihood of, you know, right now the gapping is perfectly like it was. As you can see here, you're gonna have a way better chance of possibly damaging something. So this is the way we do it here. This is the way I would suggest, and it's the easiest way that I found to do it. The only thing it's gonna require is removing the front bumper, but to me, I like the front bumper off anyway. It's impossible for me to scratch the front bumper because my clothes aren't against it, nothing. I have more access toward the engine and it's very easy to take off. So this is why we do this. Okay, it's a cluster in there, like it's barely straight in my head.
Okay, how about
I want to get a job teaching kite surfing. I went to Mexico one time and they were all like, everyone like walk up, starts to be like, I guess I thought I was from there or something. I'm like, I don't know what you're saying. They'd look at me weird, you know? I'm like, hey Alex, did you get everything you needed? Okay, cool. This is Alex. Alex is the do everything guy. Like, can you do that, Alex? Yep, 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 yep. He works super hard. Just not the best at showing up. It's like a mystery whether he's gonna be here or not. I'm just gonna work, so I'm gonna start off with the lower pulley deal. So I'm gonna raise it up and just start doing that. Like I talked about yesterday, that's just the process that I start with simply because we're gonna have to do some grinding and I don't like, everything on the engine right now. The coil packs are in, this is taped up. Nothing in the engine is open. The headers or the stock exhaust manifolds are on. So zero risk for possible contamination from the aluminum grindings. And then I'll put some shielding around here with some cardboard just to keep it from up here, but that's the way I like to do it. Okay, so we have this, which this is actually going to be the pulley that spins all the regular accessories like the alternator, water pump, things like that. And then we're gonna have the hub, okay? So when you get an ATI pulley or a hub, they already provide a keyway. So this is what would typically be on almost any engine application that is around. So the crankshaft would have a Woodruff key and it would go line up inside here and it would keep this from spinning. So since the Hellcat does not have a Woodruff key, we're gonna do a little bit different style to pin it. Let's see, I have a So at this point, what we're gonna do is, while we're here, I'm gonna go ahead and route the supercharger belt. That way we don't need to address it later, and it's gonna be much easier right now where we're at. And the belt's pretty stiff, so it does a good job of just kind of keeping itself where it needs to go. And then what I'm gonna do is actually go ahead and put the accessory belt. And a little trick, if you know, this is a car you're not used to, or anything like that, what you can do is just, before you take the belt off, you just make yourself like a little diagram of how the belt was when you took it off, just a little rough drawing. Used to, back in the day, it's like every car manufacturer would include that under the hood of the car. Now you rarely see that anymore. If you take it off, sometimes it can go on a couple different ways, and one way the belt will be too small or too long. It usually saves you some headache if you're just not sure. Just write a little picture down. If you look up there, all the belts are routed. It's completely back like it was. This is what the final product's gonna be. Supercharger belt's already routed for up top. So we're done as far as this goes. So now what we can do is go ahead and start putting like the radiator and stuff like that back in. The next thing we'll do is remove the exhaust and go ahead and start putting headers and stuff like that on, and spark plugs. Roof of the car. Now you can see the drive shaft. It's obviously a known weak link in these. So it's a two-piece design, which we're gonna go back with a one-piece aluminum drive shaft from Driveshaft shop, which is a good alternative. There's a few different, you can go aluminum, carbon fiber, you can go with a full Alcoa 7 two-piece drive shaft. That's the best, but it's just kind of overkill for this power level, honestly, and the cost is just, it's triple what the one from Driveshaft shop is, so you kind of have to weigh out how much power is it going to make versus do you really need that or not. But all right, so eventually what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to take the steering column loose from the steering rack. So what you want to do is either put a device to hold the steering wheel still, or if you don't have that, it's not a big deal. You just take your seat belt like so, route it through the steering wheel like that. That'll keep it from spinning once you take it loose, because there will be an airbag clock spring in there, and you don't want the steering wheel losing its orientation or turning too many directions one way. So it's real quick and easy. Just go ahead and do it now. So we'll focus on the top. Now that we've got all the grinding done and there's no possible contamination, we'll go ahead and take the coil packs out. That's going to allow us to access the bolts at the top of the exhaust manifolds better. We'll remove the top two in the middle on each side, and then we'll go work underneath and we'll finish taking the rest off from down there. We'll put the headers on. What am I doing? I'm just removing the right side exhaust manifold. I've already done everything that's on the top, so we're just gonna do the few things on the bottom and go ahead and get it out of here. Okay, so I took the starter out. As usual, I just take the nuts and bolts that I take off, I just screw them back in the proper holes. This is easier for me. It takes 2 seconds. Some people like to throw every nut and bolt in a coffee can and try to sort them out later. Find that a little inefficient, but to each their own. You're gonna want to take the O2 sensors out. Be very careful. You can start to loosen them up. If you feel like there's any resistance at all in the threads, you want to stop immediately. Put some penetrating oil on there, something like PB Blaster or equivalent, and let it sit. With the amount of heat that's in exhaust manifolds or headers or anything like that, it's really easy to tear the threads up. They get hot, they expand and contract, they can kind of gall up. And these are factory wide bands, so they're not cheap. So you definitely, be careful taking them out. Luckily, this is a brand new car, so there's no real resistance on that. And I just think it's easier to take them out. It's not a big deal. I keep them separated side to side. A lot of times the cords are different lengths, stuff like that. You'll see I kind of separate like one bank. So everything's in order, the coil pack's in order, everything like that. If you pay attention and you look, the exhaust manifolds are slotted on the bottom. I'll show you when I get it out, But so you don't have to fight it the entire way. You just loosen it up. We're gonna end up replacing all the bolts. Okay, so we are gonna end up like taking it out. But as far as just to get the exhaust manifold off, I'm just gonna loosen it up enough just to lift the exhaust manifold up and get it off. And then when it's out of the way, I'll take it all the way out and I'll put the new bolt in and I'll go ahead and get it started. So that way you're not having to fight it the whole way. Just basically gotta get it loose. Okay, so these headers are provided by Kooks. They make really good stuff. These have been jet hot coated. That's why the silver coating, so they're stainless steel, jet hot coated. What that does is help contain the heat, so reduce engine bay heat. It kind of traps the heat from being radiated off the headers. You don't have to do this. Most of the time we don't. It's just kind of a nice deal. Kooks, we decided to do it on this car for Dream giveaway. So these are 2-inch primaries to a 3-inch collector. And you can tell they're very thick flanges. Okay, so a few things, cheaper headers, these flanges will be thinner. They'll have a tendency to warp. That's where you get headers leaks or they continually blow out gaskets. So a real good quality set of headers will have thick flanges, heavier wall tubing, and they're just really nice. If you look inside here, it's really smooth. Where this transition, sometimes you'll see real rough welds or something like that. So this kind of attention to detail really improves flow characteristics.